What's going on, everybody? This is AJ, your host of the Blue to Green podcast. On this episode, I sit down with two incredible people, Meg and Ben. They're entrepreneurs in the CBD cannabis or in the cannabis world with a CBD product called Terp Nutrition, which is a CBD supplement for active lifestyles and active adults. They also operate a physical fitness coaching company, or Meg does, called Positive Fit Community, where she helps guide and coach people in moving their body and proper physical fitness and all that type of stuff. Meg's journey regarding her back injury and leading her to where she is today is quite a miracle. And their mindsets are awesome. They're positive people. They're just great people, and I truly enjoyed their company, and I enjoyed the conversation. So I'm going to shut up now and let y'all have a listen and take care. I hope y'all learn something and come together as a community. Take care, everybody.
All right, he threw some things out of the car right there. He's throwing some things out the passenger side there along the wall, the slow lane wall. 619, he's throwing dope out the window. We got bills and marijuana coming out.
619, I copy bills
It is
and
your
marijuana
six.
coming out of the window at 2328.
How are you? Welcome to the show. And we'll get going. All right, we're live. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on. I have with me Ben and Meg from Fit Little Meg and Fit Big Ben.
Yeah.
Big Ben,
Fit
yeah.
Big Ben. And you are entrepreneurs in the cannabis world here in Arizona. So I'm going to shut up for a second and I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having us on. We are super excited to be here. And a little background about us. We are actually originally from right outside the Washington, D.C. area. Okay. Grew up around there. We went to college together. So we actually met and dated in college. And around that time, when I was 21 years old, I will never forget my 21st birthday. I went out like most 21-year-olds, but I woke up the next day with the worst pain of my entire life. I could not move properly. And fast forward months later, I found out I had 2 herniated discs. And that was a massive changing point in my life. That's what really got me to start recognizing the value of my health, because I was really spiraling. I was prescribed all the opiates, all the muscle relaxers. I was in and out of pain and spine clinics, doing epidural injections, trying all the things. I ended up having back surgery, and that again changed my life for sure. But that had me spiraling into a deep, dark depression. And Ben was the one too that really recognized just how much all of this was taking a massive toll on my mental health, and just started to get me to open up my eyes to learning how important it is to prioritize our health, and also introducing me to alternative medication. And that's where we discovered cannabis and just how much that could help me with getting off some of those painkillers. So
Did you have, and we'll get to you in just a second, you said a ton of stuff, and I want to touch on just real quick so I don't forget anything. How do you have any idea how your back was injured? Was there a particular thing that caused it?
There was not a particular thing that caused it.
I'm notorious
all.
for hitting my mics as well, so I've got that Italian heritage, and I talk with my hands, so I apologize.
Yeah, so the doctors never could really pinpoint anything that caused it. At the time, I was a big runner, so I used to run and try to run out all the alcohol. And I think maybe all the impact of the running, but it also just could have been genetic. It could be just unlucky. But at the same time, I truly think it happened for a reason. And I'm so grateful that I experienced all of that, because I would never be here today without it. I would never have started all of my businesses. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through that.
I totally understand, because again, I have a back injury as well. So, Ben,
Yes.
say hello.
Hello, everybody. Super excited to be here. Very similar story with Meg. I didn't have my back hurt, but with cannabis impacted my life because I grew up with insomnia. I could never fall asleep as a child. And then at one point in high school, I was prescribed Adderall. And like a lot of other people in my high school, they were prescribed Adderall, but that just impacted my the amount of food that I was able to eat. My hunger just completely diminished, and then also my sleep just completely diminished too. So I wasn't able to sleep, I wasn't able to eat, and then one thing led to another. I started experimenting with cannabis, which helped me with sleep dramatically, and then that just kind of had a domino effect on my mental health and really started raising everything up too, because if you're not sleeping right, if you're not eating right, it's going to completely diminish your mental health. So I started seeing how much it impacted me, and so when Meg fell into the dark depression from all the pharmaceuticals and her back, I started saying, hey, we need to start trying alternatives.
No.
We don't have to listen to the doctors. Let's see what we can do on our own. There's a lot of studies that are starting to come out too, and we just kind of dove into it.
So you said you guys met in college. Where did you guys go to college?
Radford University. It's a very small school in Southern Virginia.
Okay. And Ben, I want to ask you real quick, if you don't mind talking about it, why were you prescribed Adderall?
For my ADD.
Okay. So on that note, I was completely unaware that I had ADHD until about 5 years ago. So at 35 years old, I was diagnosed with it. And then that's one of the things, I actually was diagnosed with ADHD before I started using cannabis. And then when I started using cannabis, I was like, oh, I can actually focus and like, pay attention to stuff more than 5 minutes long. So you have your back injury. And then did you who found cannabis first? Did you find cannabis first?
Yeah, I've been an avid user of cannabis for a long time. Like I said, it was helping me sleep. And so especially through college, I was always having trouble sleeping then too. And so I always saw the benefits of
Bring
cannabis.
the mic up just to you just a little bit more.
I always saw the benefits of cannabis.
Okay.
And so I knew that it definitely could help Meg.
Okay.
But of course you want to try it first.
Right.
And so that's when we started applying it to her daily routine too.
Okay. And then what was that experience like for you?
It was definitely very eye-opening, and I do always like to mention that at the same time of me starting to incorporate cannabis, I also started just valuing my health more, and I started really prioritizing not just my mental health, but my physical health too, moving my body. Even though I was still dealing with chronic pain, I was just walking more, and I was just getting up more, and I was striving to have a more positive relationship with myself, as well as weaning off all the opiates and the muscle relaxers and started using more of this cannabis. I was a teacher at the time, so I was very nervous to actually use anything with THC. I was also very nervous to even talk about it or let people know that I was starting to incorporate this because of the stigma that is associated. And with being a teacher, I felt like I had all these eyes on me and that it wasn't something that was going to be accepted.
Especially living in Virginia too.
Okay.
At the time, Virginia was very strict about cannabis. If you got caught with even a gram, you could be in jail for multiple years. Now it's a lot more open. But at that time, she was very hesitant to try it out, especially going to school if she was feeling high or anything. So that's when CBD, and we started realizing about full spectrum CBD and understanding the differences of where the extractions are coming from and really understanding what you're putting in your body. And we realized there's a huge area of improvement, even in the supplement industry, that there's not that transparency. There's nobody holding each other accountable for that. And so that's really kind of where we took a passion for introducing cannabis to other people and advocating for it.
Did you guys, when you started down this road of cannabis use, first and foremost, let me ask you a question. How old are you two?
I'm 31.
Okay, I know that's 30. A taboo. You guys look fabulous. So I'm an old man, so I'm like going, we were having a conversation on the phone, like going, well, she's got to be like at least 21, right? And then you said that you were a teacher and all that good stuff, and Ben, you look fabulous too. I'm like going, and then you said that, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's just, again, with age, when I see younger people, I'm just jealous is all it is. So real quick, you said you had back surgery, correct? What did they do for the surgery? Are you fused?
Yes.
Okay.
They took out about 90% of my disc. Ooh. And I will say that it did instantly after I started to feel better, but within a couple months, I was back to where I was dealing with chronic pain, inflammation. I was still on all the opiates and muscle relaxers. Every now and then I was getting cortisol injections. So still seeing PT. I mean, I was kind of, it helped, but at the same time it didn't help.
Yeah, and doctors at the time were telling her she shouldn't be moving. She shouldn't be working out. She shouldn't be doing the stuff that a lot of holistic doctors will tell you to do.
Right.
And movement's the best thing that we can do for our body, especially at a young age.
When my back injury happened when I was 35 years old and I was still in law enforcement. And I had my surgery in 2017, and I herniated 3 times. And then since the last time I herniated, it's just been pain management from them. I don't have the ability to have the surgery right now just due to life circumstances and all that. And then it was a couple years ago that I really, I used to work out, used to be in good shape, used to lift, do all that type of stuff, used to run, used to love running. And then it was a couple years ago where I got with a physical therapist who was also a bodybuilder that understood back issues. And she got me moving. So Trish, I hope you see this, and I know I'll send it to you. She got me moving better than I ever have, and learning to strengthen my core has taken pressure off of my back. I was standing all the wrong way. I was standing with my butt sticking out, and that was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was learning to strengthen my core, strengthen my butt, and it started bringing everything together. And then not moving causes me more pain than moving. It's one of those catch-22s where, and I'm sure you have the same days where you wake up and you're in pain and you don't want to move because you're in pain.
Yeah.
But if you don't move, you're in more pain.
Yeah.
And then you wake up, and when you start moving and start doing that, it's like, oh, the pain's starting to relieve itself a little bit and working the muscles out and all that stuff. So that's and ever since then, I feel bad because yes, I am disabled, but yet I go to the gym and people are going, how can you do that? It's like going, well, if I don't, I will be completely incapacitated, and I still have young kids at home. So that's the sort of thing where it's like, I have to keep moving. So enough about me. This isn't about me, but we do share very similar stories, and we do share in the pain management as far as that goes. So when you started exploring this and you said the full spectrum CBD and all that, did you educate yourselves? Did you have somebody helping you along the way? Again, I'm assuming, this would be about 10 years ago or so where you started doing this, and the research wasn't really there. So how did you guys come across this information?
Yeah, honestly, it was all Ben.
Okay.
He did all the research. And again, I was a little skeptical in the beginning. So he was the one that was coming to me like with all this education behind it.
Yeah, and at that time, like I said, in Virginia, it was very taboo, cannabis. But that being said, DC was right on the other side of the bridge. In DC, it was starting to open up a lot more. And so I kind of always had a gut feeling that I wanted to be in the cannabis space. Just as a career. And so I started going to different cannabis conferences that they were hosting in DC. I was meeting all these different companies that were coming out from all around the U.S., really, and just kind of picking people's brains, just understanding people's stories and also listening to people's stories of how cannabis changed their lives. And that was a big impact for Meg too, when I started bringing her to these conferences and hearing guest speakers talk about how they went from completely feeling like trash all the way to I have my life back.
Yep. Amazing. And it's the same sort of thing where I was on, were you ever on gabapentin? Did you ever take that?
I don't recall, but it was a while ago. I don't even remember all the medication, but
I was prescribed all the opioids and everything going through that process. And then I was prescribed gabapentin, and that was the one drug where I was like, I am not taking this. It made me stupid. It made me completely, I am a knuckle dragging Neanderthal anyway, so I'm not the brightest, but at the same time, this made me, I remember I've told the story before, because it's for nerve pain. I took this and they just prescribe it, just willy nilly. Oh, you have nerve pain. Here you go. I took it and I was in the kitchen trying to help my wife with dinner. And I was, I picked up an onion or whatever it was I was going to cut, and I picked up the knife and I told my wife, I said, hey, I just took this first gabapentin. I don't really know what it's going to do. And like 15 minutes later, I'm trying to connect the dots between how do I cut this thing, and my brain just couldn't process it. And I just went to bed. So after that, I took it for a couple. I said, okay, that initial one, it was the first time getting into my body, getting used to it. We'll see. I took it for 2, maybe 3 days later, and I'm like, I trashed it. Like, I'm not taking this stuff ever again. But there are people who have nerve issues that are doped up on this stuff
That's scary.
all day long. And then on top of that, they had taken the opioids. I never made the leap to like the oxys and all that stuff. I was on Percocet. Then I had my surgery and brought the pain level to a manageable level, so that now I just use cannabis. But the stories, 80% of all street drug users started from an injury and started on oxy.
I was on oxy.
Yeah,
I knew a lot of friends
insane.
who went through that path, and it's not a fun path.
And just like you were saying earlier, all the oxy that I was on, all the muscle relaxers, all that did was make me not want to move. Wanted to be a couch potato. And as we talked about, that only made my pain worse.
And it just makes you just want to sit around and do nothing. Okay, so you guys are, and just real quick question, is cannabis in DC legal was it medical only back then, or was it med and rec? I'm totally unaware.
So it was gray area. You couldn't sell cannabis, but you can gift it.
Okay.
And it's still kind of that way. Now they have medical, like dispensaries and stuff, but at that time it was mainly just gifting.
Okay.
And so it was a really interesting gray area, but they made it work.
You could be in possession of it, but you couldn't buy it and you couldn't sell it.
Yeah, it's decriminalized.
Gotcha.
Actually.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're learning about cannabis, and then what takes you down the path of your companies and coaching and all that stuff?
Yeah. So, fast forward many years, and I believe I was 25 years old. I was full-time teaching at this time, and
In Virginia?
In Virginia,
Okay.
yeah. And I had done my first bikini competition, which was such a massive milestone for me because I had many doctors prior tell me that I should and would never be able to
Right.
lift weights and all these things. And I just felt like I proved so many people wrong because I did lift the weights and I got in the best shape of my life and did this bikini competition.
Nice.
But from that is when I started documenting things and showcasing it on my Instagram, and my following started to really grow, and people started to follow my journey and started asking me so many more questions about health and wellness. So that inspired me to get my NASM certification and get certified and
Okay.
just do some personal training just on the side because I was passionate about it. And let's be real, teachers do not get paid enough, not at all.
Right.
So I was doing that on the side, and I remember going out to LA for an LA Fit Expo and just exposing myself more in the fitness industry, and coming back and going to Ben being like, I want to move to California. I want to go out. I want to go to California. I'm going to make it happen. And he was really taken back. Like, why would you do that? You're just starting to establish yourself here in Virginia. And like, we have so much going for us. And he also was being like, there's going to be a lot of competition out in LA because it is the hub.
Right.
But I really saw it as not as competition, but as a learning opportunity. I was like, imagine if I get to surround myself with all of these successful people doing what I want to do. Like, I'm going to learn so much and grow so much. And I was really advocate of I'm going to make it out there. And eventually, I think he recognized I was going to go without him. So
You're going whether you're coming or not.
yeah. I remember he called me up like a month later being like, you know what? I think you're right. I think we need to go. We need to move. We need to get out of here, and I'm ready to do it. So really soon after that, I finished up teaching. I was never going to, leave that year without finishing teaching. And it was June, and we decided to make the move across country and go all the way out to cross country. And at that time, we got out to LA too, is when Ben really, I remember him really having these two big decisions. Do I get this corporate job that I know I'm going to be getting paid what I should be getting paid, or do I take this massive cut in pay and start my journey in the cannabis industry? Yeah. And you want to tell us more about that?
And that's really why I decided, I was like, all right, LA is a really good opportunity to kind of dive into it, because like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I always knew in my gut that I wanted to get in the cannabis industry. And so I really figured LA's been doing it for so long that you might as well learn from some of the best. And so when I moved out there, that's kind of where I found myself. I was like, hey, I moved all the way across the country. I'm not going to settle and be comfortable.
Good.
I'm going to completely get out of my comfort zone. That's when I ended up getting a job at a dispensary while starting my business, just so I can still learn about cannabis, learn about the compliance situation. I ended up moving up to be a manager at that location right in Venice Beach.
MedMen, I'm sure you're familiar with MedMen.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And so I learned a lot from them. It was a very interesting experience. But at that point, when we were ready to start really growing the company, that's when we decided Arizona would be a really good spot for it, because California is not the best for small businesses.
Right.
We learned that very quickly. But that's when we decided, hey, let's completely put all of our resources into our businesses instead of just paying for a place in LA.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that really I really picked up on is the fact that your guys' mentality and your mindset of I'm not going to settle. I'm going to do better. I'm going to put myself out there. And that's something that I wish more people had, that innate drive to just go out and get it. It's hard. It's very, very hard. So I commend you both for doing that. But on that note, though, regarding your fitness and your education and your coaching and all that type of stuff, what was it like diving into that world?
Yeah.
putting yourself out there for that.
Yeah, definitely very scary. And I remember too going out to LA. I actually did apply for some teaching jobs, and I had my parents who love me to death. They were terrified. They wanted me to get a
Gotcha.
teaching job so bad. I went to college. I got my master's in education. My entire life I wanted to be a teacher. Like
Okay.
that was set. So it was a huge change, and it was hard for them to see that, I think. But I knew that deep down that was where my passion was.
Yeah.
I had this massive passion, and I wanted to use my story and just how much health and wellness has changed my life. And again, I really had this mindset that I was going to just take action. I wasn't going to wait for things to be perfect or handed to me. I was going to use my passion with a purpose, and I was going to put it out there. And I was very grateful at that time that my social media grew tremendously out in
Gotcha.
LA. And so I was able to use that to my advantage with marketing. And that was another reason too that really made us super passionate about creating our own company, because I got to see on the influencer side these massive cannabis brands that were getting pushed and the money that was getting given to these influencers to make all of this marketing. But one of the big companies, and I won't put anyone on blast, but one of the big companies that was reaching out to all these influencers, and I had a ton of my friends promoting this company, there was a massive lawsuit against the company because their gummies didn't even have a CBD in there. And so the quality just was missing, and the education was missing too. And so that also was something that really wanted me to kind of fight for this and to just be different, and put out the quality and the education and make sure people can see that transparency.
That has been my biggest complaint about cannabis in the state of Arizona is that there's a lot of crap.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of crap out there. There's been tons of examples of exactly that. Like, try this great new product, and then you go get it third party tested, and there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
It's tap water.
Yeah.
It's whatever, it's just food coloring and food dye, and that's unfortunately, that's the biggest complaint for me about this market here in Arizona.
Yeah.
So what is the company that did you guys have separate companies, or did you guys start one together?
One together. So actually, originally, Ben started on his own a different company.
Yeah, I had like a drop shipping platform. I was really selling like other CBD products while I was kind of understanding e-com. And so it was almost like a test run. And then there's a couple things that kind of came up that stopped us in our tracks. That I won't go too far into.
Yeah, Ben never likes to talk about this because he always wants to be the better person. So we won't go into too much detail, but to make it short, basically we had friends that we had met in LA that we thought were friends, and we were telling them all about the company that Ben had created. Hemp Gains was the name, and Ben was getting a lot of stuff done for that and showcasing them. And long story short, they basically went behind their back and trademarked the name Hemp Gains, and they took the name and they created a product under that name.
And tried to sell it to me.
And then tried to sell it, and it was
Tried to sell it back to you.
Yes.
Oh.
It was heartbreaking. I mean, he was so passionate about what he was doing, and it just broke my heart to see that these people just did that. And at that point, I mean, he almost completely gave up and was like, this isn't for me. Maybe I can't do this. But that's when I really was like, I want to invest into this company. I want to help you. Like, I know that we together can create something so special and so amazing, and we can get that education out there. So
yeah, and we're big believers too, and everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, agreed.
And karma is karma, and we focus on what we can do and bring good to other people around us. And so
I love
that's
that.
really what we focus on.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love
we
that.
really haven't shared that. Like, I think this is the first podcast that we've ever mentioned that, because again, we always want to be the bigger better person, and we don't want to.
That doesn't define us.
Yeah, we don't want that to define us, but
It's part of the story.
it is part of the story. And I think it's inspiring because, being an entrepreneur or going after whatever you're passionate about, it can be hard, and you're going to have roadblocks, and you're going to have people try to pull you down. But if you can get past that, you're going to learn so much and grow, and that's when you're going to make an even bigger impact.
That's the one thing that I've learned from doing this is that there's a lot of times that I get shut down by people and stuff like that. But it's like, you know what? I just want to get good information out there to people. And it doesn't matter what it's about, but I want to sit and talk to positive, inspiring people who have a story. And the more I talk to people, the more successful people that I talk to, the harder their story is. The more struggle there was. It was not handed to them. It was owner operator. It was people striving to be better, to be better than what they were dealing with.
100%.
So what are the companies that you have now?
Yeah, so my health coaching business that I did create when I was out in Washington, D.C., right before I was moving to LA, it's called Positively Fit Community. Mindset is everything to me, as I'm sure you could tell. And I knew when I created the company, I didn't want it to be focused on me. I wanted to really bring women together, and I wanted to form that community. And I wanted it to be so much more than fitness. And I knew the word positivity or positive had to be in there because that is something that everyone has always said that I get to spread. And I'm just so passionate about that positive mindset. So yeah, it's called Positively Fit Community, and I've had it now for 4 years. I have multiple coaches that work inside Positively Fit Community, and we have a really big community. I think right now we have about 150 women inside, so it's awesome to see just how much they all motivate, inspire each other, and we've been also able to educate a lot with cannabis. So we're definitely not the like pushy salespeople. So we are more of the let's take the education approach, and if someone is interested, awesome. We have this amazing product that we can give to you, but definitely a lot of Positively Fit community have used Terp Nutrition. So we're very grateful for that.
Well, my question is that there appears to be a lot of negativity in the female world regarding fitness. And, men, we just want to lift and get big and look good and, high five, bro, and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? We're not too terribly concerned with the concerns of other people. I mean, that's just this is my personal, but it seems as though in talking to women who want to get into shape and all that, they're always scared. They think they're going to be judged. They think they're going to be, they're not going to look right. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. How do you get people over that? How do you get females who want to get into better shape? How do you get them to just take that first step?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I like to preach to them too, that it's so much more than what you look like. It's truly about how you feel. When you start prioritizing your mental and physical health, you're going to start feeling so much better, and you're going to be able to stop caring so much what others think. Like that is the biggest lesson I like to preach to the girls and help them do is recognize that this is your life.
Yep.
This is not anyone else's life. If you're not making yourself happy, you're going to waste your life away. So getting them to, of course, still value other people's opinions, but at the end of the day, it's your life. It's your decision. You've got to do what makes you happy and what's going to make you feel your best.
I completely agree. And one of the things that my wife has said to me, she goes, I like your I don't give a fuck attitude. I do give a fuck, but I don't care about somebody's perception of me, especially if they don't know me, and that's just the number one thing that it's like, you just got to get up and do it.
Life's too short not to.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I always think about, okay, when I'm 90 years old, am I really going to worry about what that person said about me?
You're not going to give
I'm
a
not.
shit. No way.
And I don't want to die with regrets. I want to know that I took action and I went for it and that I lived my best life. And I feel that if we're not feeling our best, there's absolutely no way we're going to be living our best life.
Agreed. So you had mentioned, coaching with cannabis, positively fit
Community, yes.
Yes, and then also Terp Nutrition.
Yes.
So what's that?
Yeah, Terp Nutrition.
So Terp Nutrition is our full spectrum CBD company. We really focus on recovery products for active adults. So we have a variety of products from tinctures to topicals to even pet treats too, just because we do see how much it can play an impact in people's day-to-day life.
Gotcha. And what is it all online? Are you guys in stores?
Yeah, so it's a majority online right now. We're starting to actually expand in retail right now too. That's kind of like a major focus for
major
the end
goal
of the year.
for this year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, to get into more. We have a couple like yoga studios that are carrying some of our products now too. A few gyms too over on the East Coast.
Nice.
And so just slowly expanding that.
We also do a lot of pop-ups in the Arizona area. Our passion is educating and talking to people, and so we do love to be able to be in person and doing these pop-ups to answer questions and be able to provide that education.
That's I fell in love with CBD. I use a ton of CBD products. I love CBD, and it's the Diet Coke of cannabis. But I'll just use CBD on a regular basis just for my back pain and all that type of stuff. And when it's late at night and I don't want to get the euphoric effects of THC, just to be able to just calm down and relax, that's huge for me. I love doing that stuff.
I'm super excited for you to use our roll-on because we definitely created this product with myself in mind because of my back surgery. So
hang on, it's a plug. Hang on, we got to show it.
yeah.
Terp Nutrition muscle
Yeah.
roll on. There we go. Muscle relief roll on.
I do not go anywhere without it because I never
Nice.
know when my back is going to flare up or start to bother
Understood.
me. And so
Understood.
I love just rubbing it on that area, and it gives that instant relief.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
And the biggest thing that with our company too is we really focus on quality. That's like the biggest reason why we got into this industry to begin with. And so we partner with the USDA organic hemp farm right outside of Denver, Colorado,
Okay.
which is vertically integrated with an ISO 9001 and FDA registered food facility for
Okay.
extraction and bottling. So it's really a really streamlined process from the point that it's a seed all the way to the point that it's in a customer's hand. So
That's
That's
awesome.
like our biggest focus is just making sure that we're providing quality and education around our products.
How did you guys find that company?
We started. I worked through probably like 3 manufacturers before, just trial and error. I always go out to meet them too, so
Okay.
I don't just do the phone calls. I need to actually see because
Good,
a lot of people
good.
can talk the talk, but not a lot of people can walk the walk.
Right.
So we went out. I ended up going out to their farm twice before we even started a deal working
Okay.
with them, just to make sure that I was meeting the owners, I was meeting the farm, I was going to the extraction
Awesome.
facility, just everything.
Awesome.
We actually even last year we took out a team, about 6 people on our team, some of our ambassadors, to show them the farm, show them the extraction facility, because a lot of people forget that this is a plant extract.
Right,
People
right.
just think this is a chemical compound that is getting created in a lab, but it's not. It's getting extracted from a plant, and
Right.
that's what you need to focus on. And I talk about buying your cannabis just like you're buying your produce. You want to know where it's coming
Oh,
from,
yeah.
if it's
Totally.
grown in clean soil,
Totally.
everything. So that's what I really like to preach to everybody, and having people come and see that and be able to have that experience, seeing it going from the plant to the extraction facility, it's really eye-opening for a lot of people.
And then you just get it shipped down here,
yeah.
the finished product.
Exactly.
What
So
does the finished product come as? Is it oil? Is it powder? Is it what's the finished product like?
So they do all the bottling and everything out in Colorado,
okay,
and then they'll
okay.
ship all the finished products
Okay,
to us here.
so they finish it. They do everything. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
We'll do the labeling
Okay.
here, though. For some of the products, we'll do the labeling here because we have a warehouse in Phoenix that we work
Nice.
out of.
That's awesome. That's very so. Yeah, it's one-stop shop all at the same place.
And we do hand package all of our orders with love and do some nice handwritten cards.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we got Terp Nutrition because we really focus on the full spectrum and not just the cannabinoid profiles, but also the terpenes that are getting into the product.
Okay.
So our,
Explain that.
Yeah,
For
so like our-
people who don't understand that, explain that, please.
Yeah, so terpenes are aromatic compounds that are found in really all living plants, responsible for a lot of the odor as well as a lot of the therapeutic effects. So
Okay.
a lot of people have the misconception that sativas and indicas are actually just the THC percentage, but it's actually the terpene profile and the cannabinoid profile that both work together to really create that experience.
Okay.
And so, for example, our nightly drops, which is a really popular tincture that we have, it's actually mimicking an indica strain
Okay.
in terms of a terpene profile, and then it's going to have a full range of cannabinoids in there as well, so it's giving you that really sedative, relaxing effect.
Okay.
A few terpenes are like linalool and myrcene, which are very popular in indica and also really good for like pain as well.
Okay. Interesting. Gotcha. So where do the terpenes come from?
So the terpenes are coming from plants.
All cannabis based?
A few cannabis,
Okay.
a few botanical.
Okay. Gotcha. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I've tried to teach people, that the comparison. I compare it to alcohol. It's like, okay, alcohol is alcohol is alcohol. Bud Light has the same alcohol that Everclear has. It's just a different strength. It's the different chemical makeups that make it, Bud Light or vodka or whatever the case is, which is the same sort of thing along the lines of terpenes and all that stuff. It just gives it its flavor, its aroma, its effects, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I feel like most people, including myself in the beginning, I had no idea any
Right.
of that.
Well, and it's not talked about, especially
Yeah.
in today's day and age. People just I want 97% THC. It's like, are you just going to sit on the couch and do nothing all day? Are you just going to, and that's fine at the end of the day. For me,
Yeah.
that's not a big deal, but you need to be active. And so how did you guys come across like the different mixtures? Okay, this is for this is for that. What was involved in that process?
A lot of trial and error. Also,
Okay.
like talking with formulation specialists, chemists, and
Okay.
just having a lot of conversations and reading through studies too that they talk about different terpenes and effects of that. So just
And trying products out. I mean, we had to test everything before
Yeah.
finalizing it. So sometimes it has taken us a little bit to perfect the product and to actually get it ready to sell.
Gotcha. What's your guys' most popular?
I would say our top products are our muscle relief roll-on for
Okay.
sure. Definitely a huge one,
100%.
especially because we really focus on living a healthy lifestyle and recovery and utilizing that to help with recovery. And then our nightly drops, and I think that's because most of America struggles with sleep.
I know I do.
So that's a big thing. And our new product that we just dropped, our fruit snacks, are also very popular. I think also because they taste delicious.
Okay.
It tastes like
like
I think we
dangerously
gave you
good.
some of
Nice.
those too. Tastes like a strawberry fruit roll up. So everyone just loves that.
Oh, nice. So, okay. So when you say, push a positive lifestyle, what's the holistic approach to that for you guys, for your company?
Yeah, and this is actually something we also incorporate with Terp. You know, we do not want to be the company that sits here and tells you, use this product, it's going to cure everything
Right.
and you're going to be perfect. Like, that's not true. Even with back pain, as you know, it's a lot of moving parts. It's what you put into your body, how you feel your body. That's going to play a massive role, as well as just those healthy habits. And this is something I preach to all of our girls inside PFC, just valuing your sleep, valuing your mental health, doing something every day for you mentally, as well as drinking that water. Water is so important. And just getting daily movement, whether that is working out in the gym or going for a walk or a bike ride. Moving your body, it's going to make a massive difference.
It's amazing how that shift has happened in health and wellness, and even like you said, recovery, like even recovery from surgery now. As soon as you have a surgery now, they don't want you sitting around in bed. They want you up and out and walking around as soon as possible, just to get that body movement going and get that recovery going.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something for health that people just, it pains me to see people who are fully able-bodied and have no physical ailments that just sit their asses at home and do nothing. I get it. We all have good days and bad days, but when it develops into that pattern, it's like
Yeah.
you're missing so much more to your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, and it is a matter of health. You know, it is a matter of health, and it is a matter of mental aspects. And people don't realize that you feel bad because you don't look good. You don't look good because you're not moving. You're not moving because you feel bad. Well, it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
You got to get up and do something.
I love that you mentioned that, because I always like to stress to people that no one is perfect,
Right.
and we are all going to have bad days. Like, that is not going to change, but it's not about perfection. It's truly about consistency. And, you know, if you do have a bad day, or you eat like shit, or you don't move your body, it's not really what you did that day. It's what you're going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you going to let that one bad day stop you from valuing your health and doing the things you know are going to make you feel better?
I agree. There's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow.
And you
Yes.
can brush today off and get up and do something tomorrow for your
Absolutely.
health.
Yeah, it's all that consistency. That's truly what it's about.
So, are you doing any? Do you do any competitions now?
No more competitions. I don't see myself doing competitions.
She has
but
competed in about, what, 3 or 4?
3, yeah, I've
Okay.
done 3 shows in my 20s. But right now in my life, I think our focus is on the businesses, and we just got a house. So we're
Gotcha.
doing that, and you know, maybe one day having a family.
If
So-
you like your time, your money, and your life, don't have children. So I'm just kidding. I have 3 kids. I'm just kidding. I always say
told
that.
that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I have been told that, but that is one of the reasons
just
that
joking.
we are 30, and I know a lot of people, including my parents, sometimes are like, "You're not married, you don't have kids, like, what are you doing?" And we just have chosen to kind of go to wait and to
Focus on the business.
focus
Nothing
on
wrong with
business,
that.
focus on what we're so passionate about, and that will come.
Well,
so.
and that also falls in line with you don't have to make anybody else happy.
Yeah,
You don't have to make anybody
absolutely.
else happy with your life choices
Yeah.
or anything like that. That's always a point of contention in a lot of families. It's like, how come you're not? Well, it's not your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We may be family, but it's not
Yeah.
your concern.
And I've actually really tried to take it a step further of not only do, it's my decision, but I don't have to explain myself that
Right.
much. They don't have to understand. That's okay. They might not ever understand, and that is totally fine.
Did you get any pushback regarding? You had said that you didn't start using cannabis until after you met Ben and all that. So, was it from a conservative upbringing? Was it just because you just wasn't around it? Was there any pushback from your family getting into the cannabis business for you?
Yes, definitely. I think being in a conservative family, being a teacher, and I'll be transparent, I was very my lower 20s, I guess 22 to 25, I kept it on the DL. Even when I did my first bikini competition as a teacher, I completely changed my name. I was terrified. I didn't want anyone to follow me. I blocked my family members. Like, I didn't want people to really know what I was doing, because at that time I was so concerned with how they were going to feel, and I was worried about just the pushback that I was going to get. But eventually, as I grew as a person and I developed such a strong relationship with myself, and my passion only grew, I became way more confident, and I recognized that I don't need to make everyone happy. That's not what it's about, you know? So I started slowly just opening up more and more and sharing more about my story and more about cannabis and more about just my passions.
And one of the things that my goal has been with this podcast is to, you know, I talk about it a lot. I'm former law enforcement, all that good stuff. And there's so many cops that are just stuck in this mentality of all stoners are just, you know, they're just potheads that just sit around. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the commercial of, you know, you do drugs and it's the girl sitting in the couch that can't move.
Like
or
a pancake.
like that. Yeah, exactly. And one of my goals with this has been to show success and to show like, look, and I wish that there are so many successful people out there, so many more successful. I don't mean more than you. I mean more as in a total.
Yeah.
That use cannabis on a daily basis that don't say a damn word because they're scared of the stigma. And it's like, if they just came out and opened up and said, I use cannabis, it would start breaking down doors. And this is part of my thing, is to show that you're not lazy. You're not just a pothead sitting around doing nothing. You're opening businesses. You're coaching other people on how to lead better lives. You're making products to help people. You're making products to make people's lives better. You know, it's not there's a relationship. Yes, there are people that sit around, smoke weed all day and play video games and, you know, live in their parents' basement. You know, that's a reality. But then again, there's people who eat too much sugar and too much caffeine and whatever their drug of choice is. So I'm, you know, I love to see success stories that are around cannabis and can show the fact that like it improves people's lives. It improves when you, and I'm a huge advocate of, and I've said it before, I have no problem with recreational. I have no problem with it. I just have an affinity more towards the medical side, because of what I had to use it for was for medicinal purposes. I smoked a little bit when I was a teenager and experimented a little bit, but it wasn't until I was injured in my 30s and it was either a regimen of opioids that makes you like a zombie all day long, or weed.
Yeah.
I'll take the weed. I'll take the weed all day long.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Ben, what about you? You had said that you're a, you know, longtime consumer and all that good stuff. Was there any issues from the family standpoint when you started getting into this?
I think their biggest concern was just me getting in trouble.
Okay.
They originally, when I started kind of presenting the idea to them, they always knew that I had a little different abstract way of thinking.
Okay.
But their biggest concern was I was going to move out to California and get involved in the black market.
Gotcha.
And so they didn't want me getting arrested. They didn't want to deal with that. And so that was their biggest concern. But when I was moving out there, my main goal was to get into legal business.
Yeah.
And so so once they started realizing that and they started kind of visualizing the business starting growing and the brand started growing, then they were completely on board, and they started also seeing the testimonies from some of our customers too. And my mom, transparently, was kind of like a hippie when she was younger.
Okay.
But then growing up in Virginia was very conservative. So she got back because she heard of friends of hers getting arrested for cannabis and stuff like that. And so that was the big concern, is just the legality of it. And so once she started seeing all those testimonies and everything, she started really opening her eyes to that. And my father did too. So now they're fully on board, and they love it. They love Terp Nutrition.
My son's a drug dealer. not really. There's definitely more money in the black market though. So, you know, if you want to go that route, I don't suggest that. No, that's good. No, I love success stories that start from small business and move up. So
Yes.
It's been quite a journey, that's for sure. And
Definitely.
Wouldn't change it for anything else, though.
awesome. But you're big into fitness as well, though.
Yeah.
Correct. Do you do anything on the side or
I want
coaching?
to do bodybuilding eventually, but prioritizing Terp is my main thing right now. I was coaching for a while, actually, with the PFC for a lot of the male clients that were coming to them.
I was going to ask that, and I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. I was going to ask, because you had said female. Is it strictly female, or is there male and female?
It is. Okay. It is strictly female. And where we're at right now, we decided to really just have it be female, so we could bring those females together, and that's what we enjoy, working with more of the females. And to be completely transparent, just having sometimes men didn't always take it seriously or just being inappropriate.
Oh,
And I remember
that's
finally
disgusting.
at one point I got to this place where I was like, I'm never gonna work with a guy again. I want to work with females, and at this point I can choose what do I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
But whenever we are planning a big event in September, we try to do an event a year, and we try to make it a fundraiser. We're all about giving back. It's also something we do with Terp Nutrition, but we, for the events, we always open it up to females and males, everyone coming in and just bringing people together for those positive vibes, as well as getting a good workout in and then raising money for a good cause.
And Ben, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize for that. So.
Oh, no worries at all. No worries
So,
at all.
but you did coach some of the men that came
I
in?
did coach for maybe like a year, but I really wanted to focus on Terp.
Okay.
I had to put all my efforts toward that to really grow it, because we did bootstrap it from the ground up, and we're the sole investors. We don't have outside people, because we also want to keep to our values too.
Okay.
So.
Which is one of the reasons too that we have not got married yet, because we are the sole investors, and so we've put so much into that. But we wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, it means more to us than anyone can really know.
Well, and you have control. It's your business. You have control. You're not out or influenced by outside money.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, too much of Arizona, and now obviously with you guys being CBD, you guys are can go nationwide, but too much of the cannabis community here in Arizona is being turned over to the big boys.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people that are really happy about that, especially patients and consumers, because prices go up and quality goes down.
It is. I mean, I hate to be negative, but it really kills me, and it's ridiculous how much it's a pay-to-play type of game, and just how not authentic things are these days, and how much marketing is just total BS.
As in my position in Arizona NORML exposes me to a lot of this stuff, especially working with lawmakers. And all I'll say is that if the cannabis community really saw what goes on behind doors, we see it as wanting to get people good information and good quality products and all that type of stuff, and the consumers and the patients want that. But there's a lot of dispensary owners who don't even touch cannabis.
Yeah.
They got no skin in the game. You know what they have their skin in the game in? Money. Being entrepreneurs and capitalists and venture capitalists and all that type of stuff is fantastic, and I want those people to make money. I do. I want people to make money. I enjoy capitalism, but I also really wish they gave a shit.
Yeah.
I really wish that. And then the more and more I talk to people in the industry, the worse conditions are. I hear that the conditions are becoming worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's just the sort of thing where that's heartbreaking.
It is.
Because it's weed, for God's sakes. It will sell itself.
Yeah.
You don't have to do much to sell weed.
Yeah.
So I just wish that, I wish that everybody had the mindset that you guys had, which is quality products, put the patient first, or person first, the client first, and it's just very disheartening.
It is, but that's why we're here doing what we're doing, and truly got to believe that what we're doing it's going to pay off, and we're going to be able to just help break that stigma and provide that education and quality.
Where can people go to find you guys?
Yeah, so they can just go directly to our website, www.terpnutrition.com. We also have an Instagram, Terp Nutrition, that we're very active on as well.
Very active.
So, and that's one of the things is getting people the education and the information that they don't even necessarily know that they want or need.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to me, again, when I started understanding terpenes and cannabinoids, however you say it, and all that type of stuff, that it was like, oh, there's way more to this.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. And that's one of the things too, that we need more research. We need better research. We need better understanding of cannabis and how it can help people. So
Definitely.
The cannabis and the ECS in general, just how it's interacting with our body. I think that's what's really fascinating to me, is the more research that comes out, the more we'll actually understand it, because we don't fully understand everything right now.
And by ECS, you mean the endocannabinoid system.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was Maricopa County Sheriff's Office had a live stream the other day with their top law dog when it comes to narcotics and all that stuff. And I was watching it, and I was on as blue to green, and I asked the question, I said, do you guys have any training in the endocannabinoid system? And the answer was, well, cannabinoids, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're not understanding my question. And because you're not understanding my question, that shows me you don't know what you're talking about. You may know about the drug itself, but you have zero clue or understanding about how it affects the body.
Yeah.
You know, and how it's, and somebody commented like, well, why would they want to care about that? I'm like, going, if you're going to charge people with DUI drugs, you need to understand how the drug is affecting the body. So sorry for going off on my tangent here on the side.
So true though.
But we don't understand the endocannabinoid system. You know, we're just now gaining an understanding of how it works and the receptors and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and even medical professionals don't get taught about the ECS.
None.
Now it's starting to, they have courses I heard that they're starting to implement for like nurses and stuff, but the majority of the medical professionals don't understand it.
And that's where you guys have a leg up. You have the education and understanding about how, you know, what do these different compounds do in the body.
And for the legality, we're not medical professionals. just putting it out there.
Yeah, we're not. You're not doctors. I'm not a lawyer. We're talking opinion here, and you can share. And that is something too that people need to understand as well, though, that just because they have the name at the end of their name, MD, or, you know, medical doctor, that doesn't mean they know what they're talking about when it comes to cannabis.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that. And again, I'm not giving medical advice in any way, shape, or form here, but they're still slaves to the pharmaceutical companies. They're still slaves to what the government tells them to do, and what the pharmaceutical company, which golf trip the pharmaceutical company is going to send these doctors on.
Yeah.
You know, and what product they're going to sell. And, oh, well, the pamphlet says this. You know, how many drugs have been recalled throughout history because it started off as great, and then we found out the realities that, oh, it causes cancer and it will kill you. Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, no, and Ben can definitely speak more on this because his grandmother is a fine example of this. Her doctor was telling her to order from this one company, and so instead of supporting Ben, she had to listen to the doctor because that's kind of
very old school style.
Yeah.
That is, unfortunately.
But she was saying, oh, I'm not, you know, it's not helping. I'm not feeling anything. So Ben did his research, diving more into this company that the doctor was recommending. It turns out that it was an isolate, so it didn't have that full spectrum, which could have
She
been
had chronic pain like through her whole body that she'd been suffering with for over 30 years.
Wow.
And that just wasn't helping. And so finally, after a lot of back and forth on the phone, she finally was convinced to try the Terp, and she realized that she actually found relief with it. And so just
Isn't that amazing?
having that night and day, and her kind of recognizing, because I explained to her, I was like, I have friends who are pharmaceutical reps. They go and wine and dine these doctors in order to get paid for it. And there's some CBD companies that will do the same thing because they're usually started from a pharmaceutical background. And so they have that same kind of concept and how they wine and dine all these doctors. And it's just terrible because they're putting false information in people's heads.
Money talks.
Yeah.
Money absolutely talks. Now, I was able to get, I tell the joke, I love my mom. Mom, it's nothing. If I can get my crotchety old mom to try CBD, I even got her to get her med card for a little bit, but she just couldn't understand the concept of just not using it and not getting high, and then you kind of got to build up a little bit of a tolerance to it. And she did. My mother did not like the effects of THC in any way, shape, or form. So she uses CBD now. So if I can change her mind on it, and she's got a back that would make ours look like it was brand new. So yeah, no, but that older mentality. And it's nothing negative, but everybody used to just trust doctors.
Yeah.
You trusted your doctor. They didn't steer you down the path of, oh, well, this medical rep told me this, so that must be true.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good and also the older generation is coming around to using cannabis.
Yeah, we have a lot of customers that are in the older demographics. So.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
we are very open to just answering any questions. I know Ben personally, we have a hotline number on our website,
Oh, nice.
and a lot of our older customers will call and just ask a million questions, but Ben will take the time to really talk with them, educate them, help them with their order, what they need.
That's
and
awesome.
all of that. So
This is what you get with a small business that actually gives a shit about people.
right?
That's very cool.
Yes.
I'm very excited to try your guys' product. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you think.
And yeah, no, and I don't know about you, but the weather affects my back very, very much. And being in monsoon season, it's killing me right now.
Yeah. I love that you said that because I've been so stiff and tight this entire month, and I was wondering, I'm like, maybe it's the move, but could be the move, could also be just the weather.
Season.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like a really old man when I say that because, old jokes and stuff like that. But yeah, when it gets really humid here in Arizona, and everybody, if anybody listens to this back east, are like, it doesn't get humid in Arizona. It does.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's definitely noticeable. I'm sure, being from Virginia, you guys probably used to
Oh, yeah.
sweltering heat.
Yeah, way different.
Yeah, but that's one of these things. It's temperature and pressure changes and all that causes flare-ups and inflammation and all that type of stuff.
Makes sense.
So
Makes total sense.
well, is there anything else you guys would like to add or talk about or discuss with your companies or push?
I think the biggest thing too is we are just so impressed with what you're doing, and we love what you're doing and
thank
just
you.
your background and kind of stepping out and speaking up on what you believe in and just what you're passionate about and sharing that education. So thank you so much for letting us come on. And
anytime.
And sharing the perspective from a former law enforcement, I think, is a really good insight for a lot of people.
I thank you very much for saying that. That's totally unexpected. I appreciate it. And the issue that I'm having currently is online debates go nowhere. We all know that. And I found myself suckered into an online debate with old cop friends of mine. And and it's people who I respect, and it's people who I trusted them they trusted me with their life, and I trusted them with my life. And here I was this just happened a few days ago. And I was like, you guys are just not getting it. You're stuck in this mentality of it's bad. It's because it's illegal. It's bad. And then I brought up a couple of examples. I said, well, if the government tomorrow said that we're going to segregate everybody and make it illegal, does that make it bad? No, just because something is illegal does not make it bad. It's based on a misconception. And I found myself going down this rabbit hole of, all right, I just need to stop, let them have their thought process. And like, I can try to provide the information to people. And that's the thing though, too, is like when it came to cannabis, when I was a cop, I didn't give a shit about personal possession. I didn't care about that. I also had zero understanding of the medicinal benefits because that just wasn't a thing. I cared more about the criminal aspect of it. The big drug loads coming across and, cartels killing each other and all that stuff. That's all I really cared about. So, but I appreciate you guys saying that because it's definitely interesting when I tell people I was former law enforcement. They're like,
Like former?
Right? Yeah. No, that's one thing that nobody's ever questioned that though. They're like, maybe he's still a cop. No, trust me, I'm not. I'm not. Trust me, I have, very few ties anymore to that. So.
Yeah, no, but what you're doing is going to help break the stigma. And I know that we don't always see that. I think often, even us, we sometimes forget just how far we've come, or we forget just how much of a difference we have made. But we definitely 100% are making a difference.
The more people don't want you to say something, the more you need to say it.
Yeah.
That's strong. It's got to get out there. The information's got to get out there. And one of these days, the federal government has got to catch up.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the upcoming political world, particularly here in Arizona, because every year, this is something that people don't understand and realize. And I'm going off on a tangent again. I apologize, but from the Arizona normal side of the house, I'm also what's called a PC. I'm actually technically an elected official, even though I didn't go onto a ballot and get elected. I just filled out the paperwork and there was an open slot. So I get to go into a lot of these meetings and stuff like that and hear information. Every year, our lawmakers try to kill cannabis. Every year, lawmakers try to cap the amount of THC limits. A couple of years ago, they wanted the limit of THC in a product at 2%. Could you imagine that?
That's crazy.
That would be like I don't mean grass as in weed grass. I'm talking like the grass out on your lawn type thing.
That's crazy.
But every single year, and then there's also, you guys familiar with Delta 8 at all? Do you have any?
We had a Delta 8 product that was like limited supply for 420.
Okay. And every year they're trying to kill Delta. And because Delta 8 is new to the scene, that's something that they tried to kill this past year. I got to be honest, I can't remember what that bill. It did get killed, but there was a lot of controversy behind it and all that stuff. And then at the federal level, there's controversy regarding Delta 8 because, and then I guess the new thing is too that you can actually take hemp and CBD and actually convert it to Delta 9.
Yeah.
So
Delta 9, Delta 8, they're doing like isomerization is what it is.
Okay.
That I guess they convert it by adding some type of solvent.
Okay.
Sometime like citric acid or something, and then they convert the CBD isolate into those deltas.
Okay.
I've heard about that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's something that the lawmakers are trying to kill. And every year, again, there's so many things behind the scene that would just slaughter small businesses.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, that's just a reality that we have to fight every
Yeah.
single year. So I encourage, as small business owners, please get involved with
Yeah.
regarding the political side of it. So come to Arizona Normal meeting. This
Yeah.
is my pitch for Arizona Normal.
I love it.
So
We definitely want to go to more normal and META meetings.
Yeah, we
too.
did do.
Oh,
we
yeah.
did one actually. I remember you were there. We didn't officially meet.
yeah, I
but
apologize.
That's okay. No worries.
And Meta's awesome too for networking and getting your products out and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, we definitely can do more of that. That will help, for sure.
So, well, yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for your time.
Yeah.
So, once again, where can everybody find you at?
Our website, just www.terpnutrition.com
Terp,
or
Terp,
yes,
nutrition.
yes,
.com.
or our Instagram. We're very active on there, and always, like I said, we have a hotline number. You can always call.
What's the number?
Answer any questions.
Do you remember the number off the top of your head?
I don't know.
We'll put all of this contact information
in the show
Yeah,
notes.
in the show notes.
Awesome. But yeah, thank you again so much for having us, and I hope that those of you listening, you enjoyed this episode.
Leave us with words of wisdom.
Meg's the queen at words.
Oh
of
my
wisdom.
goodness. Words of wisdom. I guess biggest thing, hopefully, from this podcast, if you are, someone very new to cannabis, just give it a shot. Don't start making the stigma around it until you try it for yourself.
Works for me.
That's perfect.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Love it.
Give me 1 second to shut all this down.